In 1976, 24-year-old Richard was a dealer at Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas. He worked 8 hours a day, 6 days a week, making just $4.50 an hour, with tips as his only extra income. 2 years on the job taught him how casinos really worked, how dealers thought, and where the surveillance blind spots were. At 2 a.m. in 1978, once the Vegas streets had quieted down, Richard laid out a pile of chips on his kitchen table. Red dollar 5s, green dollar 25s, black dollar 100s. He'd been studying roulette for months at that point. Roulette is pure luck, but there's one thing you can control: changing your bet after the ball lands. He came up with a stacking trick. A $5 red chip on top, a $100 black chip hidden underneath. From the camera's angle, or the dealer looking down, it just looked like a small bet. If he lost, he'd pull the $100 chip in the confusion and only get paid on the $5. If he won, he'd leave the stack intact and let the dealer find the big bet underneath. The move was nearly impossible to catch, simple and effective. It worked because it played on people's blind spots and assumptions. In March 1980, he tested the trick at the Tropicana. Dressed like an average tourist, he bought in for $200 and spent the first 20 minutes making small bets, losing more than he won, playing the part of just another unlucky gambler. Once the moment was right, he made his move: a $5 chip on top, a $100 chip hidden below. The ball landed on 23, he lost, and while the dealer was busy settling bets across the table, he pulled the $100 chip and only cashed out on the $5. Nobody noticed a thing. He kept making small bets and laid low for 30 minutes, waiting for another shot. This time he stacked the hidden chip on a bet on 29, and the ball landed on 29, he won. When the dealer went to pay him and flipped the chips, he spotted the $100 chip underneath and called the pit boss over right away. The boss checked the rules and confirmed stacking chips wasn't against them, so the bet was legit. At 35-to-1 odds, a $100 bet meant a $3,500 payout, and the casino had no choice but to pay up. 20 minutes later, Richard walked out with $3,500, his first real score with the move. Over the next year, he kept refining the technique and worked out a set of rules. He kept the hidden chip between $100 and $500, any higher, and it would raise red flags with security. He never ran the move more than once every 45 minutes, sticking to small bets in between to keep up the average gambler act. If a pit boss eyed him more than 3 times, he'd switch tables. If a camera stayed on him too long, he'd cash out and leave. Back in 1981, most casinos were still running surveillance from the 70s. Grainy footage, plenty of blind spots, and black and white cameras that couldn't even tell chip colors apart, which gave him plenty of room to work. He swept through the big Vegas casinos. $4,200 in one night at the MGM Grand. $2,800 total from 3 runs at the Flamingo. $5,500 over 2 nights at the Desert Inn. And $3,100 in a single hit at the Sands. He was making more in one night than he used to make in 3 months as a dealer. But Vegas is a small world, and security tipped each other off fast. His run of suspicious wins started drawing attention, so he decided to take the act overseas. In June 1983, he walked into the Monte Carlo casino in Monaco, bought in for €5,000, and spent 90 minutes patiently losing big and winning small, betting just €50 to €100 at a time to play the part of a wealthy tourist with average luck. Once the table filled up with 7 players, the dealer was busy paying out several winners, and the pit boss was focused on the high rollers in the back. That's when he made his move. €50 on top, €1,000 hidden underneath, bet on 7. The ball landed on 7, he won. When the dealer went to pay him and found the hidden chip, he reported it immediately, and both the pit boss and management came to check it out. The casino reviewed the rules and the betting footage, found no violation, and had to pay out €35,000 at the posted odds. He didn't cash out right away. He played 3 more hands to cool off, before finally walking away with €38,000 total. But on his way out, he noticed the pit boss on the phone, jotting down notes about him, and he stayed away from Monaco for the next 5 years. By 1985, Richard realized working alone was too risky and limiting, so he put together a 3-person crew: David, a former dealer, who placed small distracting bets at the same table; his girlfriend Patricia, who was good at chatting up dealers to throw them off, and Tony, a former pit boss who knew the camera blind spots and security patrol patterns inside and out. Working as a team cut the risk and doubled the payout, and they took the act to casinos around the world. $18,000 in one night at the Ritz in London, 95,000 francs at the Aviation Club in Paris, and $12,000 over 2 nights at the Borgata in Atlantic City. Between 1,985 and 1,990, the crew pulled in around $2 million total. By December 1991, the Bellagio in Las Vegas already had its eye on this mystery gambler. Security didn't know who he was or how he was doing it, but 3 weeks of watching turned up a pattern. This guy bet small, lost constantly, and somehow always had a big bet hidden whenever he won. His win rate just didn't add up. So they installed a new high-def camera right above table 7, his usual spot, covering every inch of the table with no blind spots. On December 18, Richard walked in like always, sat down at table 7, and ran his usual move. Pull the big chip if he lost, keep the stack if he won. He put a $5 red chip on top, a $500 black chip underneath, and bet on 14. The ball landed on 14. He won. Just as the dealer was about to pay him, the pit boss stepped in and took him straight to the back for questioning. Staff pulled up the high-def footage and reviewed it frame by frame, catching the whole thing clearly, stacking the chips, then pulling or keeping the big one depending on the outcome. The pit boss laid it out to his face. Pull the big chip when you lose, keep the stack when you win, collect the payout. That's deliberate cheating. Richard didn't argue. He just asked for a lawyer. After 6 hours of questioning, at 4 a.m., the casino made its call. Not enough to prosecute, but he was permanently banned from the Bellagio, and if he came back, he'd be arrested for trespassing. At 4:17 a.m., Richard walked out, but his photo and his method were now in a shared database used by every casino in Nevada. For the next few years, he kept working casinos worldwide under disguises and fake IDs, and security could never pin down who he really was. Then, in 1999, high-def cameras and facial recognition went mainstream, and casino surveillance data started getting shared nationwide. The trick that made his career was suddenly useless. At 47, Richard Marcus decided to walk away for good. After 19 years running this scheme across casinos worldwide and pulling in nearly $5 million. After retiring, he spent 6 months writing a book, laying out the entire chip-switching technique, his experiences in casinos across 14 countries, his close calls, and a breakdown of the security gaps and psychological weak points he'd exploited. When the book came out in early 2000, it caused a stir in the casino security world. That March, the MGM Grand, a casino he'd hit for money more than once, offered him a job as a security consultant, paying him $10,000 a day. Within a year, he'd become the go-to security consultant for every major casino in Nevada. Even the Bellagio, the same casino that interrogated and banned him, flew him in to train their entire security team. Over the following years, he went from casino cheat to security expert, writing industry columns and speaking at gaming conferences. In 2003, he published a second book, adding even more to the industry's security playbook. By 2005, the legitimate money he made as a consultant had already surpassed everything he earned in 19 years of scamming casinos. That's it for this episode. See you next time.